go. We are coming up on a year to the day of one of the scariest days of my life, besides having my son. When I fought this man, Jeremy Smith, Rough and Rowdy, Barstool Sports. It was something. Jeremy, thank you very much. I know I approached you about this, and it came out of nowhere. But thanks for coming on. Thanks for helping us out.
For having me.
It's been a year.
Yes. Thank you for having me. It has been a year. Years flown by, I would say.
Crazy.
Yes.
Absolutely nuts. It's not going to happen again. Before we go out of the gates, it's not ever going to happen again. Ever.
Like the loss, or like the fight?
The fight is never going to happen again.
Okay.
The fight is never going to happen.
Is there going to be a round 2, or what are we going to do?
No.
Okay.
Everyone asks, why don't you do it again? I said, because I've done it once. I don't need to do it again. I always say, like, writing the book, it was not on my bucket list. Boxing was not on my bucket list.
Right.
So it was very, very weird to do it. But we'll get into that. What I want to know, growing up, I'm a little person, obviously. We say midget on here. I don't know if it offends you. I hope it doesn't, because I'm going to say it a lot. Growing up, other little people in your family, just you. What's your upbringing?
So, you go to the term midget. I don't care. Like,
yes,
I'm not one of those people. But growing up, I was the only little person in my family. Grew up in a blue collar family, right outside of about an hour outside of PA. I have a younger brother who's average size. So basically, just my upbringing was, listen, we're all doing this. We're not going to cut you any slack. You do it with us, or get left behind. That's basically my upbringing with my family. They treated me no different than my younger brother or any of my cousins or anyone for that matter. They treated me just the same as everyone else. So
that's incredibly similar to mine. I have a younger brother by a year and an older brother by 2 years. And being the middle child is like, oh man. But like, sometimes I would lean on that crutch just to get my way as a teenager. But then my parents knew to call me out immediately. Like, you're not going to use it now when you want to, and then act like you want to be treated normal every other time.
Right, exactly.
Growing up, athlete, playing sports, did you? So I did basketball, I did softball, I tried wrestling, but in 6th and 7th grade, it wasn't the wrestling I enjoyed on TV. It was it was too much hugging. Very simply, It was too much hugging, and I didn't care for it. Were you active? Were you active in sports growing up? Did you play in school, or just summer leagues, or just the little person leagues?
So growing up, I didn't actually start playing in the little person leagues. I played 1 year, 2 years in it, but that was when I was a teenager. But when growing up, I did soccer, I did flag football. And then as soon as like the kids started becoming a lot taller and a lot stronger, my mom was like, all right, whoa. Like, let's hold up for football. And I got into the sport of wrestling around kindergarten, and I wrestled from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. And then
amateur wrestling.
Yeah. So not amateur wrestling, but like the, like Greco-Roman freestyle, stuff like that,
I always think that's called amateur wrestling.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome. So did that, I've never seen, but it was with other people, like the normies. It was with the normies.
Yeah. It was with average size people.
Okay. Was the matchups, how did they do that? Was it tough to find opponents for you?
No. So when it comes to collegiate wrestling or high school wrestling or have you, it always just goes based upon weight. It doesn't go based upon height. Doesn't go based upon. Well, in your first couple of years, it'll go based upon experience. But as you move forward through the sport, it goes based on weight. So as a little person, I was in the lightweight classes. I wrestled 106 pounds and 113 pounds in high school. Didn't mean I was weighing 106 pounds my freshman year, but I wrestled kids who were 106 pounds.
Okay. So you talked about your mom stepping in and being, no, the kids are getting bigger. Did you feel that way about the soccer, about the football, about the sports other than wrestling? The really like the put it in gear sports, I guess you got to say, you know what I mean? The more running sports. Did you feel maybe I'll back out of these kind of things, or did you just always want to do it with them?
I always wanted to do it with them. My methodology, or my method, or like just the ideology I follow throughout life is like I'm pedal to the metal, and like if I get hurt, I get hurt. My mom thankfully did step in because I knew I would be stupid enough to keep going with those sports. But I knew I could compete. Was I going to be the top dog? No, but like
Okay.
I enjoyed being in that camaraderie, having that physical violence of the sport of football. I just enjoyed, and I don't know if I'm just crazy for that, but I enjoyed hitting people. So like, doesn't mean I took it out of collegiate football. Like I didn't play football for high school or middle school or what have you, but we played backyard tackle football, and my neighbors were going to tackle me if they liked it or not. Like
That's how we immediately, like 6th, 7th grade, we stopped playing two-hand touch.
Yes.
It was always tackle. Yes. And my parents hated it. But I was like, I'm going to play with my buddies. I'm not going to sit on the sidelines, or I'm not going to be like, hey, for me, two-hand touch only. I wasn't, but I think my parents kind of were like, he's going to do it. He's let him be a kid, like I am with my son now. Okay, it's going to suck if he gets hurt, but let him do it.
Exactly.
Perfect. When did the transition come from the wrestling to the boxing?
So I actually, between the boxing and the wrestling, I like during my senior year of high school wrestling, I got really into weightlifting or powerlifting. And
that could have fooled me.
Yeah. So I started lifting weights early in high school, and I fell in love with that, which led me to becoming one of the strongest people in my weight class at 123 and 132 pounds for powerlifting, and holding 13 all-time world records for Westside Barbell, which is a notorious gym out here in Columbus, Ohio. So that brief gap here got me into boxing because one of my buddies who is also at Westside Barbell found this thing where two dwarfs are fighting. And, you know, it's awesome that we have an opportunity to compete against other dwarfs, but you know how like a lot of other dwarfs are, they're very not comfortable with violence. They don't like violence. If something's hitting, or if you're smashing someone to the ground, or you're doing something, they're like, whoa, like let's back off. For me, I thought that was an opportunity. I thought that was something that was like, I want to do that because it's going to get me on a level playing field. So that to me led me into the transition of, hey, you're not going to go box that other guy. You're too big of a pussy to do that. I'm like, all right, watch me. I'll fucking do that. And next thing you know, I was thrown in a boxing ring and I was boxing.
Now, where these, so in injunction with wrestling, there's midget wrestling all over, and there's the dog and pony show midget wrestling shows, and there's the like legit midget wrestling shows. I'm pretty sure there's that for boxing too, where they do I've seen it like in Vegas, the fake Conor McGregor versus the fake Floyd Mayweather, but they're midgets kind of thing.
Right, exactly.
And it's the dog and pony show. Did you start in those? Did you go right into the legit fight ones? What was it?
I went legit fight ones. Not to say I like those guys are doing what they love to do, but I'm not there to be a sideshow act. Like I want to, not to be rude because I fought you, but when you're in a fight, I want to fucking kill the other guy. I don't want to be like, hey dude, let's do this so we could have a bunch of people coming around. I'm like, no, dude, it's a fight. A fight is a fight. Yeah. Like if I'm to go out in the street, someone's going to jump me. They're not going to be oh, it's a dwarf Ruby. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. No, it's gonna be a fight. Like that's
That
how
was
I am.
my exact when I got trained to wrestle. That was my
Yeah,
exact and my you're speaking exactly how I would and how I
yes,
did, and still like don't anymore because I'm old, but how I did, I was like, I'm not gonna do these shitty midget shows where I
right,
bite ass and do the ref spot. I'm going to show I can wrestle like Rey
right,
Mysterio, like Jeff Hardy. That was what I wanted to do because that's what I
yeah,
watched. I didn't watch circus wrestling.
right.
Same as the how you're talking about the boxing. That's extremely interesting to me that it was in your mind you saw it happening, but you wanted to do more with the sport of it.
Yes, yes, and I think too because like we've talked like after we fought like you've inspired me as a kid. You know, when you were part of DX with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, I was like, dude, that's a fucking dwarf. I'm like, Mom, look at this shit. I'm like, dude, he's doing shit off the top rope. She's like, yeah, Jared, it's okay, it's scared. Like at the time, she's like, don't get your hopes up. Like, settle it down, settle it down. But like, there was things of, listen, we're doing it just like everybody else. Why not take it seriously like everybody else is taking it seriously?
Correct.
So
That was my legitimately my I talk about it in the book quite a bit. It's like exactly what you said. I wanted I my first day of training, I said, I'm going to be trained as a professional wrestler,
exactly.
not as a midget wrestler. That's what I've
Right.
always said. Uh Nowadays it's quite different with my mindset because I know what I can do for still the same reaction in both ends.
Yes.
Well, so how old are you when you start boxing?
So I started boxing. So you were my second ever fight. I
What?
started boxing. Yeah. So I started boxing maybe when I
Okay.
was
That
22,
that throws me for a whole loop then. That
22,
adds a
23.
whole nother level to this.
Yeah. 22 or 23. Now I'm 24.
Okay. So I how before we get there then, Rough and Rowdy.
Yes.
How did they so you were in PA right now then, or you were in Columbus?
I was in Columbus working. So I trained and worked at Westside Barbell.
Okay.
Um, the way that they contacted me
West Side
was,
Barbell
oh,
contacted
no,
you.
no, Rough and Rowdy.
Okay. And how did you get in contact with, let's go back with West Side Barbell, just because
Okay.
you were so into weight training and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just moved right there on your own.
So we can go back to that. The how I got in the West Side Barbell. My ex girlfriend at the time, she was like, "Hey, you're doing pretty something amazing." I'm like, "I'm just lifting weights. Like I don't fucking. Like, I'm just doing like my own thing. I'm just doing my own thing." And she said, "Well, start an Instagram page. It's pretty inspirational." I'm like, "I'm not doing anything special. I'm just lifting weights." And so we started an Instagram page, and I'm lifting weights. And I'm squatting like 500 pounds, 600 pounds. Um, and you know, I've always read about Westside Barbell. I always knew about Louis Simmons, but I like for me, those guys are monsters, dude. Those guys are like 300 pounds, 400 pounds lifting astronomical weight. Um, so being a fan of Westside, I had a T-shirt. I bought a T-shirt, or she got me a T-shirt, and I put it on, and I made an Instagram page about it or post about it. And I was squatting,
Tagging them, of course.
right, tagging
Because
them because
if you buy a company's product, the
you
only
gotta
reason
tag
you
them.
post a picture on social media is to tag them to either
Yep,
get a heart,
yep,
to get a comment, or to get a DM. That's all
exactly,
people do.
exactly. I'm not
100%.
gonna, I'm
I
not gonna lie.
still I still live by that mantra today.
Exactly. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thirsty. I want to get attention. I knew what I was doing, but I got a little more than that. And they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, you're more than welcome to come train here at any time." And in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be like a fucking Make-A-Wish thing. Like, I'm like, listen, I don't want it to be like, hey, we feel bad for the dwarf. Let him come train. So they're like, come on, train, come over here and train anytime you want. I'm like, okay, cool. So Memorial Day weekend of 2019, I go over and I train. And I got to be there at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're training and we're going through it. We're going through it. And I squatted like 400 pounds, 500 pounds. And I squatted like, I think 500 and maybe 70 pounds that day. And Louis Simmons, who is the founder of Westside Barbell, one of my good friends now, who recently passed away, he was like, "So when are you coming back?" I'm like, "What do you mean, dude?" He's like, "You're going to come back, right?" I'm like, at the time I was in college and had a life back home in Philadelphia, and I'm like, and I'm like stuttering. I'm like, I don't know. So I went home after that long weekend, and I'm like, "Mom, this man wants me to come out here." And, as like a young adult, she's like, "What? This old man wants you to come out here and like live out there and just lift weights? Like, what's your plan for life?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I want to do it." And she was very hesitant. So she let me go for the summer and train there. And I trained there throughout the summer and set my first world record of squatting 650 pounds for them. And by the end of the summer, I had to come back home and finish college. Well, lo and behold, COVID-19 happened, coronavirus, and like all that stuff happened during 2020. Yep. And I'm like, well, I'm not just going to sit on the couch. Like, what the fuck? I'm going to go move over here. And so I picked up everything. She was livid. She's like, "You're not going to do this. You don't know what's going on." I'm like, "Mom, it's okay." So I picked up everything and moved over to Columbus, Ohio, with literally nothing in my pocket. My Jeep Grand Cherokee packed of just lifting gear, clothes that I just threw together in a suitcase, and that's how that's basically how I am here today. Is that story?
That's incredible. All right. So you're doing Westside Barbell. You're posting on Instagram. If I'm putting two and two together, because of the power of social media, your shit gets blasted out there.
Yeah.
Is that what takes us to Barstool and Rough and Rowdy?
So what happened there, it was kind of ironic. So I was working for Westside because, I had to make money. My mom's like, "What are you going to do for a job?" And lo and behold, Louis being Louis, he's like, "Oh, I got you, man. Just come over here and work for me." I'm like, "All right, sounds good, dude." So I'm packing t-shirts. And one of my coworkers at the time, Tom Barry, showed me a video of two dwarfs fighting. And if anyone knows me, I'm a very, like, if you get to know me, I could be an asshole. Like, I'll be in your face, especially in the gym. If I don't think you're working as hard as I'm working, and I'm a dwarf, bro. Like, if you're not working as hard as I am, you're slacking off, dude. I'm going to be in your face. So he likes to talk shit and poke me. He's like, "You won't do that, pussy. You won't do that." And he found this on YouTube. I'm like, "You won't do that." I'm like, "Fuck, I won't, bro. I'll do it." And a guy named Trapzilla, who actually, I guess, boxed for them, saw one of my posts because he likes lifting weights. He's like, "Hey, you should do Rough and Rowdy." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude, I'll do it." Next thing you know, like, Rough and Rowdy's messaging me like, "Hey, come on over, come fight this guy, Flying Ryan. We'll have a whole big shebang thing. We'll do this." I'm like, "Bet." And then when I was there, and then you were my second fight after Flying Ryan.
So, fuck, here we go. We're getting into it. So now you're gonna fight Flying Ryan. Mm-hmm. Who was he? A midget wrestler? I thought I heard he was on the midget wrestling circuit.
Yeah, I think a lot of them were on that circuit.
Okay.
After you, but yeah, I think he was.
So my buddy calls me over. He goes, "Hey, you got to see this Rough and Rowdy thing." I go, "I fucking hate boxing."
Yeah.
He goes, "You got to watch it." I said, "Okay." And we start watching. And it's like, here we go. And then, because I think did I watch yours? Or did I see did he send me a clip? Either way, it was an immediate, there's a midget there.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm going to reach out. So exactly. I was like, I forgot what the tweet was, but it was something like, "Hey, Barstool, hey, Rough and Rowdy, I'm in." And it was instant them getting back to me. And I was like, "Oh no, what did I do?"
Yeah.
Because then it finally hit. After seeing you, then it finally hit. I've never punched a person for real in my life.
Right.
I've never been punched.
Your brother?
I've never been punched in the face in my life.
Okay,
Never.
that we have something totally different in common.
Yeah,
My brother
100%. So at that point, I'm going, oh no, like, what do I do? I'm not in great shape. Again, I've never trained to box in my life. I know how to fake fight. I don't know how to real fight.
right.
So I find a coach around here. I find my buddy, a guy refers me to Andrew, who's an MMA coach in Appleton, Wisconsin, and a boxing coach. And I say, hey, man, I have a fight. I think it was like 6 weeks out. I said, hey, here's the date. Can we do this?
Right.
And he never like balked at it. It was never I don't know, that's a midget, I've never trained.
Right.
He goes, fuck it, let's do it. And he didn't really know about my past or my current, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
He just knew I had to train for a fight.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of off to the races. When did you hear about it? That we were gonna do this.
So I heard about it probably like early March, like middle March. So like I knew they're like, yeah, Hornswoggle, or like you didn't use Hornswoggle, you said you was Woggle. So, but I knew you as Hornswoggle from as a kid, and I was like, get the fuck out. I'm like, no way, bro. Like he's too big to be like doing this shit. I'm like, no way. And they're like, dude, yeah, this is him. I'm like, dude, I have a freaking action figure. I'm like, let's do it. So, like, in a way, I'm like, that'd be cool if I get to fight the guy that I like looked up to since I was like 7 years old. But probably like middle March is when I found out about it.
Okay. So we went back and forth, and about that dog is fucking enormous, and just seeing it scared the shit out of me.
Dogs?
I fucking hate dogs. I hate dogs. Right. You are so much tougher than me. So so we get the ball rolling, everything's going well. They say, hey, like he accepts the fight kind of thing. Yeah. And I was like, awesome. Great. And I'm like starting to train, and I'm starting to feel good. Yeah. And now I'm like telling people around town and my parents and all that, and my son, and showing them videos, and they're all like, what the fuck are you doing? Because they're seeing your Instagram and this. And I go to the local tavern, and they go, what are you doing? And I go, guys, I don't know. And I blatantly, like, I never had it in my mind I'm going to win. Not once did I think I was going to win. I was like, I'm going to do this.
Right.
And I'm going to see what happens. Yeah. So then we go. Then they come up to me like 2 weeks out, and they're like, hey, you have to meet the weight limit because of the commission. And I go, what the fuck? I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I was right at the limit, like by like 5 pounds ish. And I go, and that's why day of the weigh-ins, fast forward a little bit, day of the weigh-ins, I was like, if I have to strip down in the nude, I don't care. Like I got nothing to lose. Yeah, I'm not making this fight cancel. So now I'm like crazy dieting. I'm doing the training 3 times a week. I ended up losing 20 pounds for the fight, which is more weight than I've lost in a long time for something. But it was like, I need to make the weight, and I needed to train because, again, this wasn't biting ass and doing fake shit in the ring. Right. This was an actual fight. As we're getting closer, what are your thoughts?
For any fight or for any competition in general, just for me, like I start closing, because in a way for Westside Barbell, we're professional athletes for powerlifting. So I start closing things off. Like I start not talking to people that I don't usually talk to. I have a very select group of people I talk to. Louie and my friend Kylie at the time were basically the only people I talked to, and my training partner or trainer, Travis Clark, who was an ex-Bellator MMA fighter who was also Rampage Jackson's sparring partner. So those are basically the only people I talk to. But when a competition's coming up, I kind of just zone it. Like not to be rude, but like, you know, those videos of people throwing darts at like people's faces. It's like that. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to kill this guy. This is the guy right here. This is him. I know it. And he's going there. It was like that. So like all I saw was red.
God damn it. Makes perfect sense. So that takes me to, it's not putting blame on anything by any means. I run a independent wrestling company in Oshkosh, ACW, Wisconsin. And the Saturday before our fight, every year we run what's called Water City Wrestling Con. It's our biggest show of the year. And it was our first major one since pandemic. And we had 1,100 tickets. So it was sold out. We had guests from all over flying in. So while training, I'm focusing on flights. I'm focusing on this. And I'm wrestling on the show. So I wrestle on the show. During the match, I take a shot to my spine and my right foot dead. Jesus. Now, that night, I remember walking into the bar that night and like my foot's dragging. And I'm like, this is odd. But it's a stinger. It's fine.
Right.
Monday, my left foot done. So now I have training on Monday. I have training on Tuesday. And I think we flew out on Friday. And I was like, oh no. What am I going to do? So I literally I text Andrew, my trainer, and I go, I can't feel my feet. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, I'll talk to you at training. So literally like I'm doing all the training and now it's like the heavy stuff where he's hitting me back and we're actually like sparring a bit. And I'm like, I can't move. This is the worst case scenario right now that could be happening. Like I would have rather lost an arm at this point than not being able, but so he's like, do you want to call them? And I said, absolutely not. Because I filmed the promo. That promo made me so happy filming the squat or the lifting. Bicep curls with the wads of cash made me so happy. Like, I was like, wow. That and all of that stuff was at my buddy's house in his basement gym. It was just fun. And I was like, and I thought, you know what? People, I don't want to just be another fight. We got to have something behind it. We got to have some fun with it. And I was, I'm not going to just let it be a normal fight on the card. I'm going to bring some wrestling into it. That's my world. I have to up it a little bit. Especially when they told me we were going to be main event, I was like, now I definitely got to up it. This is going to be the best. So now I'm going into it with 2 dull feet and I'm just like, this is great. But then I hear back and forth. I don't know if they told you at all, but it was like back and forth about an audience or no audience. Mm-hmm. Did they tell you that?
Yeah, because I wanted to, like, personally, I wanted my best friend Louie to come and my other good friend Kylie to come, and a buddy of mine, Tony, and his friend John came. But I was like, listen, I want these people here. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if there's a crowd or not, but I want these 4 people here. Yep. And thankfully we were able to do that.
I was pissed because at one point they're like, oh yeah, we're going to be able to do a crowd because it's West Virginia and they don't have rules. And I was like, oh, sweet. And they're like, week of, they were like, oh, they just said no crowd. I was like,
right. Yeah. It's like, what the heck?
I'm going to get hit in the fucking face for real in front of Trapzilla and his family. Like that's it. And I was like, I was bummed so that bummed me out. But I was like, okay, I've now wrestled on, and WWE's doing it in front of no crowds. This guy and UFC's doing it in front. I can't be too upset about it.
Yeah.
Then we get to weigh-ins, and this is the part that's like funny to me because we get to weigh-ins, and I'm like, I gotta turn it up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my ass kicked. At least I'm gonna have fun with this. And we get to weigh-ins, and after weigh-ins, I said to my coach, I feel bad because he's so fucking nice.
Yeah, I'm very soft spoken. I'm not like
I said
yeah.
to Andrew and I texted my buddies back home. I go, guys, not only is he really nice, but I'm gonna get my ass kicked by someone that's really, really nice. Like,
Yeah.
it's like getting my ass kicked by like the guy at the corner store or like a bagger at a small town grocery. He's going to kill me, and then he's gonna like just be like, "Hey, man, it was awesome."
Yeah.
And I was like, he fucking told me he had my action figure. And then I was like, I'm even more mad because of how nice you were. I was like, fuck, I hate this.
Yeah. Like when you were like, I don't know, because you caught me off guard with the whole wrestling thing. I was like, just the whole act. I'm like, holy shit. And in my mind, thankfully, like you came up afterwards. You're like, hey man, nice to meet you. I was like, Travis, this guy's a fucking dick. And I started getting like angry. And I was like, because like people who know me, like I'll be really nice to people, but like if people do shit like that, I'm like, fuck this shit. Like, all right, cool. I'm like, let's play that game. But then like you were like, hey, nice to meet you, man. It was all an act. I'm like, okay, cool, we're good. But like
literally,
that,
and I knew I had to because of that, I was like, oh man, if he didn't think I was a dickhead with the promo, he really thinks I'm a dickhead now. And B, at least me like coming up to him after and be like, hey man, that's just an act. Now he might not like fully end my life. Like in my mind, I was like, oh, he's gonna think, oh, he's a nice guy. This might be okay. Man,
it was awesome.
Now that's that, and now it's the day of, and now I see you hitting gloves, and I'm just going, shit. Here we go, and it's like this. There was like 97 fights on the card.
Yeah,
and I'm going, okay, we have like 20 fights till we go. We have 15, and I'm counting down. And again, it sucks because there's no crowd.
Yeah,
that's like it. It really was brutal because there's no hype behind it. You're going out cold. It wasn't the same.
Right.
And man, I was real confident in myself until the fucking bell rang. I was like hitting gloves. I was feeling really good hitting gloves. I was like, and he was hitting me back a bit. I was like, and hit me in the belly, which really sucks. And I was like, I can take a belly shot. This will be okay.
Yeah.
And then the fucking bell rings. And I hear what is like a hyena chasing a baby zebra. And just this force coming at me where I literally thought, I'm gonna die. That bell rang and I saw you coming and I go, I'm going to die. I better tap his glove. And I knew it. I knew from that second, it was over.
Yeah. Like for me, just the fight is like, I gotta, out of respect for anyone, like if you step in the ring, I would have touched your glove no matter what. But like after that, it's on, bro.
Did you think you were taking one punch?
Well, like after I threw one punch at you and like I kind of like was waiting for one, I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, what's going on? And then I threw another one. I'm like, and then you threw one. I'm like, okay, cool. We threw a punch, but like, I'm like, oh shit. Like in a way, I was like, fuck, did I actually hurt him like right now? And then I was like, all right, cool, let's go.
The nice guy comes back again.
Yeah.
Because I remember hitting 2, and that was it. I remember you hitting so many. In my mind, you hit 79 punches in the first round. And you hit me in the belly so goddamn hard. I was like, I instantly went, I'm gonna die. Today is it. Today is where I die. Right
that was
here.
A good rip shot. That's a video. There's a video of it, I think, of the rip shot.
Yeah, there's a video of the whole goddamn fight.
Yeah.
I will not watch it. I won't watch it because I don't want to hear the hyena again coming at me. It's just one of those things where, man, and then I got knocked down the first time. Mm-hmm. I remember getting knocked down the first time and I was like, oh shit. And then I think that was right before the end of the round.
I think so, yes.
And then we did the end of the round, and my trainer comes in, and I literally look at Andrew. I go, I'm fucking done. He goes, no, you got it. He goes, just swing. He goes, literally, you landed at one, just throw a punch.
Yeah.
Goes, you're letting him punch the shit out of you. Just throw one back. And I was like, I can't. I literally looked at him and said, I can't fucking hit him. And it made me so mad because I was like, you're so fast. You're so goddamn strong. I could not do anything but literally just sit there and just take. Literally, I was a punching bag. And so then round 2 comes, and I think that was it. 2 knockdowns or 3, I forget. But the last knockdown happens, and the ref asks me to answer him, and I fully did. Yeah. I remember to this day fully answering him, and he called it. At the time, I was so fucking mad. To this day, I am so happy because I would have died. I literally say, like, afterwards to my buddies, I go, referee saved my life. Like, that referee saved my life that day, because if he would have went, I would have taken more punches and would have been done. And I knew you were going for the knockout. I had a feeling you want, like, and I thought about that after. I was like, if I somehow land one, it's not going to happen. If I somehow land one and just knock him down, I'm this hero. But now, if you knock me out in 2 minds, in yours, I'm the fake fighter, talking shit, stepping in, you're knocking me out, you get all of that.
Right.
And to the boxing world, if they're watching Rough and Rowdy for boxing, you're king shit too by knocking out the celebrity coming in. Right. I was like, but the whole time I was like, don't be Jose Canseco. Don't be Jose Canseco.
Don't do that.
I told, leading up to that fight, I told everyone with Rough and Rowdy, everyone with Barstool, I was like, guys, I'm not going to Jose Canseco it. Yeah, it was such, and it pissed me off watching it. I was like, I'm going to give a fight.
Yeah.
And like, man, it was one of those things where when it ended, when he called it, I was so pissed off at that ref. And I remember looking right at Portnoy, like right in the eye, and just glaring at him and just fucking pointing at the ref. And they like said on commentary, they could tell how pissed I was or something.
Yeah.
But then I was like, all right, but now wrestling's back.
Yeah.
Now I have to do a wrestling promo and put everything over, as we call it, and talk you up, talk the company up, say I gave it my all. I lost, but I gave it my all. And I was like, everyone texted me afterwards too, like, you got the shit kicked out of you, but you still at the end came off as like a decent human after talking all that shit.
That was, I watched that over again because like I was in my corner talking to my buddies down on ringside, and like they were like, when I watched it, it was more or less very humbling. I was like, oh shit, like he actually was nice about it. So
he wasn't the asshole at weigh-ins.
Right.
But no, that was my mindset the whole time. I was like I said earlier, it's like crossing the things off the bucket list that it was one of those things I never thought I would do. I never wanted to box. I never wanted to real fight. And I just checked it off and I got to do it. And that was one of those things where it was a very, very, it was a crazy cool experience. The training, the lead up, being in the main event of something like that and having zero experience. Like it was one of those things that I was like, okay, I checked that off. This is it for me. Now I'm done. I don't have to ever do that again.
Right.
And then seeing you afterwards, I was like, oh, fuck. He's still such a nice guy.
Yeah, I think we had a beer. We had like a beer afterwards.
Yeah,
like,
and because we had to drive to the airport hotel about like an hour away because we were flying out so early. And yeah, that was awesome. Post-fight thoughts. Yours.
For me, I think like just having people watch the sport, and you being who you are is with the notoriety that you're doing, it's bringing a lot of awareness to the sport. I think a lot of people are becoming more interested. So I enjoyed the fight. I enjoyed everything that, leading up to the fight, and having the people that I cared about most showing up to the fight and putting on a performance where, like, I'm like, oh shit, like, I hope he doesn't do a Jose Canseco. But, after talking to you, you didn't do a Jose Canseco. It was very, I don't know, it was very empowering, and it felt really good. Like, not to kick the shit out of you, but, like, it felt good. I enjoyed it.
So I don't know if you, I got texts, and this is crazy to me. I don't work for WWE anymore. I have friends there, but I got texts from so many people within WWE that ordered the fight and were watching, and like other like wrestling friends. And I was like, it made me feel really good because the support that was coming from them.
Yeah.
And I was like, no matter what, I'm bringing different eyes to something that they might never see. But now they're going to see these other crazy knucklehead fights, and they'll tune in again because it's nuts. All those fights are awesome. Whenever I'm home for a Barstool Rough and Rowdy, I order it because they're just fun to watch. They're entertaining to watch.
Yeah, they're not like, you're not going to watch Floyd Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez fight one another on Barstool Sports. You're going to watch, Joe Schmo down the street versus Billy Bob on the corner, battle it out because they have a dispute over whose sister they fucked 2 nights ago. It's the thing about that Barstool Sports is it's legit blue collar people who fight about the stupidest stuff, but at the same time have an aspect where they can give people like us opportunities to fight other people like ourselves.
It's Dana White running Maury Povich and Jerry Springer.
Yes.
Literally what it is. That's exactly what it is to me.
Yep.
And it's just fun. It's just fun. So then after me, you destroyed another guy.
Yep.
There's no one. Literally, I think I messaged you after. I said, there's absolutely no one that you can fight, and you'll never lose. You will never ever. I'm calling it now. By the end of the year, if you fight again this year or a couple times,
May 20th.
Yes, perfect. Showing it at the bar. May 20th, guys. We'll plug it on at the end again, but you will not. I'm not jinx, and if I jinx you, I'm.
We're gonna have round 2, bro.
I know.
We're having round 2.
I know, but there's legitimately no one that can beat you. I truly feel it. They made another title for midgets because no one can touch you.
Well, in a way, like the whole idea that me and my buddy wanted to do is we wanted to change that name because I don't see any offense to it, but a lot of other people do. So like changing it from midget to dwarf, hopefully it'll bring more people in that I can have more competition with, and hopefully it'll be like this. Come on, dude, like just come fight, and people are like, all right, cool, like, in that way. So
if they're boxing on Rough and Rowdy and they're still offended by the term midget, they need to reevaluate their life.
Yes.
All right. So May 20th, Rough and Rowdy, you're fighting again. What else you got going on? What else happening these days?
So me and my buddy Travis Clark, who is my corner man, who is also a manager, who is my good buddy, we want to do something to better the dwarfism community, or the LP community, or midget community, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to start our own league where it's not going to be just a sideshow with, just 2 dwarfs on a stage fighting one another. We're going to have a whole league where dwarfs are going to be able to have combat sports and fight one another. The idea being there's so many dwarfs like myself who wrestled from kindergarten to high school, but the gap between high school to collegiate wrestling is so like fucking far, and the talent level is astronomical that dwarfs can't compete in that. So after high school, they become fat, lazy, like they don't know what to do athletically. So what we're going to do is we want to start a league where we're going to help kids that, after high school still become involved in sports like jujitsu, like boxing, like kickboxing, anything where you're staying active. Because like I said about football, there's kids that play football that are dwarfs, but let's be honest, bro. Like you're like Rudy. You're playing in the last game of the season. They're going to put you in the last play. If you got hit by a 6'6" guy in a football team, you will die, bro. Like you don't play football. You're part of the team. That's great. I'm not demoralizing anything, but
it's just the honest truth. It's a scientific fact.
It's a scientific fact. So what we're going to do is we're going to hopefully have a league where we can help dwarfs become more active in mixed martial arts and learn how to, 1, self-defense, 2, have a great time, and 3, learn how to fight and be on the same level playing field as one another for once in their life. And, have that.
I think that's a big thing because I played basketball in 7th and 8th grade and softball. And it was like, man, I get walked a shitload in softball.
Yeah.
And basketball, I was like, I'm not going to make it up and down the court. I'm not going to make a block because I'm just not, it's not made for me with other kids. And then, but yet when I would go to the Little People of America conventions, I felt for some reason awkward about joining those sports. And I don't know why I felt awkward about it, but I was like, I felt awkward about the conventions in general because I never had other dwarves around me. So it was like, now it's like we're in our own hotel. This is very weird. It was like we had like some crazy like secret meeting. And that
it's like if we had a cult for a week, that's what it was. It felt like a cult.
100%. You're 100% right. It was just a weird feeling, just an odd feeling. But as a teenager, going to the dances and slow dancing to Aerosmith was really fucking cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
But it just, man, that's amazing. So where can we find that? When does it kick off? What's happening with it?
So right now we're in the works. We actually came back from Vegas last week. We are talking to investors right now to have funding for this, and hopefully it will soon be out within the next year or two. Right now, we just still got to find athletes to fill a roster. We still got to figure out weight classes like we talked about, because dwarfs don't all come in 4'6" size. We all come in all shapes and sizes. So there are going to have to be weight classes. There are going to have to be allowances where, this dwarf can fight this dwarf if they weigh within this range. Not, all right, the weight class is going to be 135 pounds. There's going to have to be some allowance.
And the height classes. There's going to have to be height classes.
Yes.
Because of the different types of dwarfism.
Correct. And maybe they don't have to be. If I might be able to fight a hypo, like in reality, in the UFC, guys are fighting. George St. Pierre is, I think, 5'10", 5'9". He's fought dudes who are 6'1", 6'3". Like, it's normal, but like you said, if it is too large of a gap, it will be addressed. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I'm telling you now that you have my actual phone number as well. Yes. Whenever things get rolling, social media stuff, all of that, please let me know so I can help out. And I expect to be a part of the first one.
You'll be in it.
Not competing. I will host. I will commentate.
That'd be awesome.
100%. But I really, and that's no bullshit. I really do want to be a part of that because that's an absolutely awesome thing and cause you're doing for not only like the little person community, but just in general. You're giving opportunity, and that's something that I talked. It pissed me off, like the Peter Dinklage thing. I go back to opportunity with that whole thing. We don't get certain opportunities just for us. So when there are certain opportunities just for us, we need to take them.
Yeah.
And now you're making opportunities
Yeah.
just for us. And that's
Right.
incredible.
And I think too, because so many people put us in a box. You know, I know you probably went to doctors and as a young kid, and they're like, "Hey, listen, you can't do this, this, and this, but you can do this." And in my mind, I'm like, "Fuck you, dude! Like, you're a doctor. The reason why you went to school is to figure out problems when they arise, not to tell me problems now. Like, your job is to fix shit when shit goes south. I'm the one who's supposed to make shit go south. So let me hurt myself, then you can fix me."
Yeah.
And that's the whole methodology behind everything. Is I'm like, I forget who said this a couple days ago. You can't let kids do dangerous things under like your watchful supervision. Like you can't put a kid in bubble wrap and be like, "Go ahead, go do something dangerous." That takes away the danger part.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I'm trying to say is, listen, if we get hurt, it's your job to fix it. But let us do us.
Yeah.
You're an average sized person giving us rules that you're not even living in our shoes, dude. Like, let us live. And that's the whole thing. Is like, we can do anything we can set our minds to. Just let us have the opportunity to show you first before you
Exactly
do anything.
Awesome. Jeremy, plug your shit.
My name's Jeremy Smith. You can follow me on Instagram, J Smith Fitness. Me and my buddy Travis Clark, who is that tattooed guy who has a tattooed head. We are starting a podcast called Head Turners Podcast. On the podcast, we have everyone that is not normal on the podcast. Everyday people who are making an impact in the community. Something that's supposed to be really cool. Hopefully build the community up again after COVID, where everything is demoralizing and shitty and everybody hates everybody. So we're trying to bring back the community together. But you can find me on Rough and Rowdy. We're fighting May 20th. I don't know who my opponent is yet, but that's who I am. And yeah, I don't know.
Guys, this has been, this is the first time I've ever interviewed someone.
Right?
Usually I get interviewed. This has been the most I've lived through someone ever in my life. This has been the best.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, this is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Two very similar lives.
Yes.
That went in two way different sports, obviously. But guys, please hit the like button, the comment button, the subscribe button, smash the bell. I finally got all that shit in because I always forget it. But I remember this time. Ding, 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 ring the bell. Just thank you. Jeremy, thank you so very, very much.
Thank you for having me.
For coming out. I appreciate it. And you're gonna win. May 20th, guys. Rough and Rowdy. Check it out. Download it. Download the stream. Buy the fights. You're going to be so entertained.
Or if you're in Wheeling, or if you're in Wheeling, just show up.
Oh, there's tickets now.
Yeah, you can show up,
guys.
now.
If you're in the West Virginia area, you need to go to this. You need to. Yes. roughandrowdy.com. Support Jeremy through all his endeavors. Thank you guys so very, very much. And very much. We'll see you soon.